Hello everyone and welcome to this little cozy comfy Q&A where I'm going to be answering your questions about what it's like to live with Marfan syndrome. I've now done a couple videos about what it's like to live with this condition. The first one is just me generally talking about Marfan. The latest video I posted is a very in-depth deep dive into an open heart surgery that I got when I was 17. So if you're at all interested, I'm gonna leave some links to those so you can go ahead and watch those first. You guys have left such thoughtful and amazing comments and questions. I went ahead and compiled them all. I thought that it might be interesting for you guys to get the answers in a video form. And very briefly, I want to thank you guys for 100 subs. I started posting in October. It's insane that we already hit that milestone. When you picture 100 people watching you do anything, that's a lot of people. My absolute favorite thing about starting this channel has been hearing from you guys. It's been amazing to talk to so many people who are going through something similar and who can relate to the things that I'm discussing. I've also had some medical students in the comment section, and I think that's so cool that you are taking the time to research even rare illnesses. Obviously, healthcare workers have my utmost respect, so thank you guys so much for hearing me out. Without further ado, let's get into it. This commenter left so many amazing questions, so I'm just gonna go through them one by one. And again, I have some notes here. Don't be distracted by me looking down. The first question: what have been your biggest challenges with Marfan? I mean, this might be a really obvious answer, but the health challenges, specifically the problems that I've had with my eyes. If you watch my previous videos, you know that I've had like 8 eye surgeries and I have permanent symptoms that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. So if I tilt my head down, if I just look straight down like this, the vision in my right eye goes completely blurry. That has been the case for maybe 3 years now. It absolutely sucks ass because I have had so many health issues. It has made me into a little bit of a hypochondriac. If I feel that anything is wrong, if I have a cough for a bit too long, or if my lymph nodes are a bit swollen, I immediately jump to the worst case scenario and might freak out about it a little bit. With all of this comes anxiety. Sometimes I find that really difficult to deal with. Just the feeling of not being in control. There are certain things that I can control, like avoiding really any activity that would damage my heart or my eyes, but other than that, I'm completely powerless in this. I absolutely hate that, and I find that really difficult to deal with. Just the fact that things can go wrong. I'm also powerless to do anything about it if that happens, so I'm completely at the mercy of random people who I just hope have my best interest at heart. So those are the things that I find the most challenging. This is an interesting one. Have you ever faced prejudice at any point in your life? Honestly, maybe not as much as you would think, but also for me, if you know that I have Marfan, it is easy to spot. Like if you just look at my hand, for example, I have super long fingers, super long limbs. So if you know what you're looking at, you can easily spot it. But if you don't, I just seem very tall and skinny, and because of that, I've had a lot of people assume that I have some sort of eating disorder, and I've gotten those comments since I was very small. That is not the case, so it is irritating to be constantly asked if I have anorexia, if I'm eating enough, or am I starving myself, and hearing those comments of just you should be eating more when I eat completely fine. It's just my condition. As a teenager, hearing those comments coming from adults was so annoying. Hearing that from teachers, and by the way, these teachers knew what I had and they were still commenting about my eating habits, which let's not even get into how messed up that is. I've always been underweight, but that's just because of the Marfan, and I don't blame people because this condition is so rare that of course it's not the first thing that you think of when you see a very skinny teenage girl. You still shouldn't say that in a way that people commented about it to me. Kind of in the same vein, I was also bullied, not super brutally, but I guess just similarly to how a lot of kids or teenagers get bullied if they look different. I mean, kids are just kind of assholes. I feel like almost everyone has been made fun of at least a little bit at some point. I mean, I was at least a head taller than everyone else ever since I was like 12, or just or just people being mean about me being tall, which, I mean, okay, like if that's the worst thing you can say, then go off, I guess. And now later in life, if it's not completely necessary, I like to get to know people first without mentioning my condition, and then after I've known them for a little bit, then I'll talk more openly about it. It's not like I'm hiding it, so if it somehow comes up organically, I will talk about it, but it's not the first fact that I bring to the table, if you know what I mean, so that people would first know me as just Mintu and not the girl who has Marfans. But when I think about work or school, I don't think I've ever been discriminated against because of it, at least not in the way where I've noticed it. Do you have any strategies that help you keep going when things get tough? Well, I guess this really depends on what kind of mindset I'm at that time. I've mentioned before that I've done quite a lot of therapy. I did a bit over 2 years, and that really helped me come to terms with having this condition and realizing that the only thing that I can control is my reactions and how I choose to approach things. I of course get that that is so much easier said than done when you're sitting in an ER with no vision in your other eye. It's kind of difficult to take that in a optimistic or positive way. In those moments, I do notice that I kind of naturally go into myself. I'm not sure how to describe it, but I withdraw and maybe emotionally shut down. So then I will just try to get through those difficult moments, and then later on, when I have some breathing room, then I will emotionally process those things. But I mean, I've definitely had moments where I've wanted to drop to my knees in the ER and start screaming and crying and like rolling on the floor. I feel like that would probably feel pretty good, to be honest. If you've ever done that, let me know, so I'll keep that in my back pocket for next time. Did you study any particular career or have any dreams for the future, like writing a book or dedicating yourself to an art like drawing or music? So as you may know, I am a fine arts student. I'm graduating next spring, so I'm currently working on my thesis. Drawing has always been a passion of mine, and ever since I was very little, I knew that I had to try to pursue that in some way. But of course, now being an adult and facing the reality of being in the creative field, it is extremely hard to get work. It's so competitive and there are so many incredibly talented people. Even though it would be awesome to work in that field, my expectations for it aren't super high. I totally expect to have to work like a normal job and maybe do art on the side. I've worked at H&M, I know, for I think 4 years on and off, and I feel like I might need to go back to that for a little bit, but my god, I cannot do that long term, and I do not see that as my career or something that I really aspire for. I'm sorry, H&M recruiting, if you're watching this. So I would like to have my own small business, which would enable me to do all sorts of things. So I could do commissions, sell my prints or stickers, do tattoos, although I'm not sure if that dream is kind of dead and gone because, like I explained, if I look down, I lose the vision in my right eye, which makes it a bit difficult. I'm still doing it, but I'm a bit unsure if I could do it on a pro level, which is sad because tattooing was actually one of my like dream jobs, and I still do it, but it's just for fun for me and my friends. Owning a small business, especially here in Finland, is extremely difficult. I have a family full of entrepreneurs, and my god, you really are working all the time, and here the support for small businesses is very, very poor, and the taxes are so high, plus all other expenses. So I don't know, man, we'll see. But I also want to get out of Finland at some point. So people were curious about my hot take on having kids, and I mean, I kind of spoiled it already in the video that I mentioned it in. I personally do not want biological kids. I've always known that I don't want kids, but the ethics of it came in a bit later and made me really realize that that is not a good idea. I just feel like it would be unethical for me personally to bring a child into this world knowing how much I've suffered physically and mentally because of this condition. Oh, and if you're not aware, Marfan has a 50% chance of being passed down. That is such a big risk. I would not be able to live with myself if I took that risk and they had it. Not to mention how risky pregnancy would be for me. Pregnancy is risky already, and people can still die from it, even this day and age. Going through that while having a very serious heart condition is just, I don't see how that risk is worth it at all. Like, I don't even know the person that I'm bringing here. What if they're an asshole? I'm not dying for that. So if you yourself have a serious genetic condition that can be passed on, I'm so curious to hear what you think about this topic. And if you have kids or are planning to have kids, how do you reconcile those facts that I just mentioned? The thoughts of, what if you pass it on to your kid? How do you live with that? And do you really want them to go through the same kind of suffering that you have? I'm very curious how you think about this if you have a genetic condition as well. Another question, do you tattoo yourself as well? And have you had any problems with blood thinners while tattooing yourself? I was on blood thinners after my open heart surgery, but I would never ever tattoo myself or anyone else while they are on blood thinners. That is very, very risky. Right now I'm only on beta blockers, and that's not a risk factor in getting tattooed, at least to my knowledge. I do tattoo myself and my friends. I do stick and pokes. I can flash some pictures here of the stuff that I've done. If you're not familiar with stick and pokes are, no machine involved. You just dip the needle in ink and you tattoo one dot at a time. They also asked, is there a page where I can see your tattoos? Yes, I have an Instagram where I post my tattoos. I am extremely bad at posting on Instagram though, but here is the page, so you can go and follow me if you're interested. I am planning on doing some videos of my tattoo process as well, because maybe it would be interesting to see how I get around to not seeing with my other eye. Then we have a question in Finnish, so I will add some subtitles so you can still follow along, but since the question was in Finnish, I will also reply in Finnish. Kuinka paljon ja minkälaisia oireita kautta tuntemuksia joudut kokemaan tutkimusten ja operaatioiden lisäksi? Eli mä vastasin tähän jo lyhyesti itse kommentissa, mutta siis yleisimmät oireet, mitä mä koen arjessa, on rytmihäiriöt ja erilaiset ongelmat näön kanssa. Eli rytmihäiriöiden kanssa ne saattaa triggeröityä ihan oudoista asioista, eli vaikka siitä, jos nousen seisomaan tai puen vaatteita päälle. Tavallaan niissä ei ole sellaista tosi tarkkaa syy-seuraussuhdetta. Ne on kuitenkin tutkittu tosi moneen kertaan tämmöisellä Holter-tutkimuksella. Eli siinä sun sydämen toimintaa mitataan 24-72 tuntia. Sulla on siis semmoinen pieni monitori mukana koko ajan, ja nämä rytmihäiriöt on tutkittu moneen kertaan niillä, ja ne on todettu niin sanotusti hyvälaatuisiksi. Eli vaikka ne ei hyvältä tunnu, niin ne ei ole vaarallisia, ja ne kestää yleensä muutamasta sekunnista muutamaan minuuttiin. Ikävintä niissä on se, että mua tosiaan alkaa pyörryttää tosi kovin, eli yleensä pitää istua alas. Semmoinen yleinen hengästyminen. Voitte varmaan kuvitella, että jos sun leposyke on joku 70 ja sitten se yhtäkkiä niin kuin napsautuksesta hyppää johonkin 120, niin siinä voi tulla vähän huono olo. Silmiin liittyen mainitsinkin jo, että jos mä käännän pään alaspäin, niin mun oikeasta silmästä menee kokonaan näkö. Sen lisäksi pienestä pitäen näkökentässä jatkuvasti leijunut tällaisia läpinäkyviä eri värisiä ja muotoisia hyttysiä. Mä en oikein tiedä, miten kuvailla niitä. Siis tämmöisiä tavallaan näköhäiriöitä, että mä näen niiden läpi kyllä, mutta ne on jatkuvasti mun näkökentässä. Mä oon niihin tosiaan jo niin tottunut, että en ajattele asiaa sen enempää, mutta jos mä alan oikein keskittyä, niin sitten ne saattaa alkaa häiritsemään. En tiedä, mistä ne johtuu, eikä niitä ole ikinä oikeastaan mitenkään edes tutkittu. Toinen juttu, jos makaan selällään ja katon ylöspäin, tai jos vaan edes käännän päätä kokonaan ylöspäin, niin mun oikean silmän näkökenttä täyttyy ihan kokonaan pienistä mustista pisteistä, mitkä on verta, mitkä on jäänyt noista leikkauksista. sinne tavallaan silmän sisälle. Tuossa tietyssä asennossa ne sitten niin kuin leijailee siihen näkökenttään. Ja se on myös aika häiritsevää, mutta siinä asennossa ei onneksi nyt tälleen niin kuin arjessa ihan hirveästi joudu olemaan. Tosiaan mulla on myös niin kuin yliliikkuvat nivelet, eli välillä jos laitan vaikka jotain tiukempia housuja jalkaan, niin mulla saattaa niin kuin toinen lonkka muljahtaa tavallaan niin kuin pois paikoiltaan, mikä ei tunnu kauhean kivalta, mutta se yleensä niin kuin menee heti myös itse takaisin. No kaikkea niin kuin ihme juttu, että mä tosiaan niin kuin saan peukun tälle niin kuin pois sijoiltaan ja näin, mutta ehkä noi on niin kuin ne isoimmat jutut, mitä sille arjessa huomaa, just jos ei oteta mukaan niin kuin tutkimuksia ja operaatioita. So, that was all the questions that I gathered from your comments. If you're curious about anything else, please leave it in the comments below and I will reply to everything. I will also link my other videos in the description as well as my Instagram, my art Instagram, and my tattoo Instagram if you're interested. I'm repeating myself a little bit, but again, I just want to thank you so much for 100 subs. Creating videos has been really fun, and now that I'm back from my travels, I'm hoping that I can get back into filming. I'm making a bigger video about my thesis, so I've been filming footage of that while painting. I think it's gonna be a while before that comes out, maybe only after the final exhibition. If you have any other video suggestions that you'd like to see, I'm very curious to hear them. I think that's it for this video. So thank you so much for watching and hopefully I will see you in the next video.